What's up, everybody? Stocks by the Numbers. Welcome back. Today is Friday. It's about 11 a.m. here, but we had numbers come out, and I know everyone's probably pretty upset because, in my opinion, I was personally pumping the stock up. Again, I don't even have a position in it. I was just looking at the numbers, looking at the subscriber growth, and in my mind, I said this was easily a $5, $6, even $7 stock, and I still think that that is a conservative number. But let's find out what's going on. Name of the company is FuboTv, ticker symbol FUBO, listed here on the New York Stock Exchange. Stock is back up now to $2.01. Was down at $1.85 at one point after opening up at $2.44, and then dipping down. Now you can see a little recovery taking place back above that 20-day moving average. So what's going on? What's going on is, first of all, this revenue estimate was much higher compared with the last previous quarters, even though they have been consistently beating estimates. And I remember in my eyes, I was still personally pretty optimistic, but 397.7 million estimates. I was really curious to see if the company would have been able to meet or exceed those expectations. And as you can see, the company posts 410.181 million. Beating those estimates by over 3%. And the EPS side, in my mind, one of the main reasons why they kept the stock down, if you go back a couple of years ago, one of the main reasons why they beat the crap out of this company is because the losses were extreme, wider than expected, and the company, wasn't really beating on revenue. It just seemed almost like a stick in the mud. So they kept beating it up. I remember even when I first originally found it at around $1 and thought it was undervalued in the numbers, they continued to beat it up, and they brought it down into like the low 80s or something. So our timing, of course, cannot always be perfect. But when we see growth in the longer term, as I always say, in my opinion, that is when you accumulate shares and build a sizable position. Now, of course, the stock has bounced around, hit a high of almost $4 here a couple of quarters back. Now we're back down at $2. So, it has been a volatile ride. However, I have consistently said that when you're dealing with a lot of these smaller up-and-coming companies and you're looking and seeing longer-term growth 2, 3, 5 years from now, you have to deal with the short-term volatility to get the long-term growth, right? Because if you've been holding this whole time, I'm sure it may feel like an emotional roller coaster. But if we turn around 2.5 years from now and all of a sudden there's a $9 stock, or the stock's at $11, you're not going to sit here and say, oh, remember when it dropped from 220 to 180? You know what I'm saying? All you're going to say is, son of a bitch, I knew it, and it was all you can eat down here at $2, $3, and now it's freaking $10, $11. I knew it. And unfortunately, that is kind of what always happens with a lot of these situations, if the numbers stay solid, of course. But Fubo, phenomenal beat there on the top and bottom line, posting a loss of only 24 cents. Analysts expecting a loss of 31.2 cents, beating those estimates by over 23%. And apparently guidance moving forward was a little lighter, which seems to be the main catalyst as to why they initially brought the stock down. Again, this stock just today, not too long ago, was down and brought down to $1.85. Now it's at $2.04. It's down less than 1.5% currently right now. This is why I say, regardless of any potential negatives, depending on what we're seeing, the rate at which this company is growing, not only its subscriber base, but of course the revenue off of not only ads, but off its users as well. In my opinion, this is a growing company. This is a growing stock. And again, I understand that moving forward, guidance may be a little bit light. However, even with the lighter guidance, in my opinion, the stock is tremendously undervalued. This is why I'm saying, conservatively in my eyes, this is still a $5, $6 stock, if not more in the longer term. And even if a guidance right now is forecasted as a little bit light, remember, it changes from quarter to quarter. So 3 months from now, when they report earnings again, for all we know, they'll re-up the guidance and it'll be back in line with the original estimates. And now it's no harm, no foul, right? You understand? But let's see what's going on here. Sales grew 28.5% year over year to 410 million. Beautiful growth. Gross margin stood at 10%, 888 basis point year over year improvement. witnessed a 662 basis point reduction in subscriber-related expenses as a percentage of revenue to 86.5%. Continued progress in optimizing content costs. North America streaming revenue grew 29% year over year to $401.8 million, as paid subscribers grew 12% year over year to 1.618 million. Average revenue per user rose 15% year over year to $86.65. Sorry, I'm so used to saying million or billion after these numbers, but look at this growth. 29%, 12% subscriber growth, 15% in the revenue per subscriber. This, in my eyes, is nothing short of spectacular. These are phenomenal numbers. Just remember, if this was another quote-unquote streaming powerhouse, like if Disney posted that all of a sudden subscribers were coming in at this rate, you and I both know the stock would absolutely explode. So the fact that Fubo is getting so beaten up really has to make you wonder what's going on here. Rest of the world streaming revenue was $8.4 million, okay, drop in the bucket. 18% year over year jump with a paid subscriber decline of 3% year over year. Is a decline negative? Absolutely. Should this outweigh this? No way, because this is obviously a drop in the bucket, and chances are the quote-unquote rest of the world subscribers, there's a lot of people out there outside of North America, right? So I'm sure they can get those numbers up over time. So obviously, in my eyes, that's not what you're looking for. This is your bread and butter right here in North America, for the time being. FuboTv ended the quarter with $251 million in cash equivalents, and restricted cash. Remember, that's almost half the market cap right now, is just a touch over $500 million. FuboTV expects first quarter revenue of $371.6 million to $383.6 million versus estimates of $393.6 million. Okay, again, potentially lowered the outlook moving forward to the next quarter. However, anything can happen. And again, even myself personally, I felt $397 million for this quarter. Ooh, that might be a little high. And the company posts over $410 million and beats it by almost $15 million. So this is what I mean. For all we know, these numbers are lower than this number. But first of all, we could end up coming much closer to this number, and Fubo could post $390 million 3 months from now and just miss by a few million, which of course would look much better than $370 million and change. But also at the same time, who knows? Who knows what can happen in that 3-month period? And again, for all we know, Fubo could come out and post $402 million. And then, obviously, the stock is going to explode because originally guidance was lowered, below estimates. Now, boom, you come out and surprise above estimates. So if something like that happens, in my opinion, the stock will obviously take off. But, we cross that bridge when we get to it. Fiscal 24 revenue, $1.536 billion to $1.56 billion versus consensus of $1.624 billion. So I can't lie, that's a big drop in the forecast of revenue moving forward for 24. However, at the same time, I really don't understand it, because you would think it would be around this 1.6 billion if the company is doing around 400 million a quarter, right? 400 million times 4 is 1.6 billion. So it looks like the company is expecting, and it might be to start off the year here for the next quarter, it looks like they're expecting potentially 1 or 2 light quarters that are maybe going to bring down the overall 2024 revenue number. But I don't know. In my opinion, like I said, I think we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And again, if the company comes out and for the next 1 to 2 quarters is missing these estimates by 10, 15, 20 million back-to-back quarters, then I could understand, and I'd say, yeah, they're probably going to post, somewhere in here. But like I said, 3 months from now, anything can happen. And if the company posts 390, 400 million for the quarter, well, guess what? Now we're back on track for this number, right? So we know that from quarter to quarter, these guidance numbers, these forecasts change based on, the current business and what they see for the next quarter or two. So we'll keep an eye on it. Of course, Fubo is one that, again, I've watched for a while. And in my opinion, with it bouncing around now again back at 198, I I still say it's a buy. I really do. And again, you're never going to get, the absolute best possible price that you could. I mean, of course, some people do, and you look back and you say, "Oh, wow, that was perfect timing. I bought it right at the low." But we know that those times are few and far between. So this is why I still say, in my opinion, if we see strong growth for the long term, you have to accumulate and deal with the volatility in the short term for that long term growth. That tighter loss, much better than people are giving them credit for, in my opinion. That revenue growth is phenomenal. That subscriber growth is phenomenal. And again, they were worried about the widening losses. That's why it was originally beaten up. And look at this, going back the last 4 quarters, just consistently beating, posting more narrow losses than Wall Street was anticipating. Paid subscribers 1.618 million against 1.592 million. 15.2% change compared to the year ago quarter. Advertising revenue. And remember, right? What did we say? Other streaming sites and media companies said, "Oh, ad spending has been down. It's been tight. It's been rough to get ad dollars." Yeah, well, guess what? Fubo, that apparently everyone's bashing, and 3 powerhouse media companies are teaming up to take them on. Guess what? That company, 15.2% growth year over year. Subscriptions, 370 million. Compared to 358, change of 29.9% year over year. Subscription revenue. But I still say, in my opinion, I still like it. I really do still like it. There was one more thing, too, before I let you go. There was one more thing. Rising 12% subscribers. No, there was another number. And, of course, now I can't find it. Yeah, but they spoke about subscriber. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed it, but they spoke about these suspected um, subscriber count. And I cannot find it. Unbelievable. Are you serious right now? I just saw it. I just saw it. Well, I guess I lost. Interesting to see how estimates for coming quarters. Yeah, I'm surprised. Here we go. I'm surprised. I really am. I'm surprised that this is not in line. These 2024 revenue numbers. The company also expects 1.665 million to 1.685 million subscribers from North America and 390,000 to 410,000 from the rest of the world, while analysts were calling for a total subscribers of 2.12 billion. So if we take roughly this middle number, 400,000, added to this, now we're at 2.065 million, 0665 million. No, 2.065 million to 2.085 million, right? Which technically is lower than quote unquote what analysts were expecting. But if subscriber growth is increasing double digits year over year, how the hell can the analyst have a higher subscriber expected number than what the company's going to report? Think about that. Rising, Fubo ended with 1.618 million subs in North America, rising 12% from a year earlier. So you're telling me subscriber growth, we're growing 10, 12, 14% here year over year, but somehow you had a higher estimate? How is this possible? And this is what I mean when I go out on the limb there and I say that I feel that personally it seems like certain companies are being kept down and others are kind of tossed like these underhand softball estimates and then miraculously, blow the estimates out of the water and the stock looks phenomenal. Look at Nvidia. Look at Nvidia. And again, I know I always bring it up, but there are reasons for this, right? The company consistently coming in above estimates. But we saw when they initially took that first jump from about 6 billion in change a quarter, 8 billion in change, excuse me, and then it went up to like 13, and then it was like 18, and then 22 billion, and whatever the heck, right? That whole time along the way, everyone knew that their numbers were going to start chunking up. But every single quarter, it seemed like the EPS estimate was just a softly tossed underhand little meatball for them to knock out of the park, right? Oh yeah, revenue estimates were like 11 billion. They posted like 13.5 billion. And then the next quarter, it's like, oh yeah, they're going to do like 16 billion. And they posted like 18.7 billion or something like that. Consistently beating on the top and bottom lines by 20, 30% consistently, right? So isn't it amazing how a stock like that they basically know is one of the main reasons this market is being propped up, because obviously the whole world awaits Nvidia earnings. And if for any reason Nvidia stock would have begun to tank after an earnings report, probably the whole markets would be red for probably 1 to 2 straight weeks, in my opinion. So it's amazing how looking at a situation like that, they can get such unimpressive, low-balled estimates. But yet you have a company like Fubo who's telling you their subscriber growth is 12% year over year, but somehow they're lower than your expectation of subscribers. Like I always say, it's all bullshit, folks. It's all bullshit, and it's bad for you. We're coming in below your miraculous 2.12 million mark. Hey, listen, no frickin' problem. This right here, 12% growth year over year. I'll take that any day of the week. Because honestly, whether or not it comes in near, below, or above your precious BS estimate here, at the end of the day, the company is growing. Revenue per user is growing. They're growing with more companies as well, right? They recently signed the deal with BKFC, Bare Knuckle Fighting, who apparently there were rumors that the president met up with Dana White, the president of UFC, and there were supposed rumors behind the doors that Dana offered him like a couple of $100 million for Bare Knuckle Fighting. So, obviously speculating here, but longer term, big picture, if the UFC happens to buy out BKFC, who's now partnered with Fubo, they're only going to push the BKFC and expand it even further, right? And put more juice behind it, which in turn should translate to better ad revenue and subs for Fubo, right? So again, I understand that technically this expected revenue, excuse me, this expected revenue is light here for 24. I personally don't understand why, but this subscriber growth here is nothing short of impressive. And again, the fact that somehow it's below their estimate when we're growing at double-digit percentage rates year over year, I don't understand how they have an estimate above what Fubo is expecting. We remain focused, continuing to provide customer differentiated experience while also balancing profitability targets and growth. In February, the company filed a lawsuit. Like, look at these names here. Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers teaming up to take on little old Fubo. Right? 3 powerhouse media companies teaming up to take on little old Fubo. And while this is going on in the rest of the streaming competitive landscape, and while this is going on with Fubo subscriber growth, somehow they're growing less than expected. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's bullshit in my opinion. That is 110% bullshit. I have never seen such bullshit. But that's just me. Suit said the companies have acted in a way that results in, quote, the extreme suppression of competition in the U.S. sports-focused streaming market and significant harm to both Fubo and consumers. In my opinion, I agree 100%. And again, based on the growth in ad revenue and the growth at which just the popularity of the platform is growing overall and the subscribers keep coming in more and more and more, I actually agree with them in my opinion. I really do. Because it seems like people, again, like I said, are shifting away from those other companies and they're moving to the smaller outlets like Fubo. And now you have 3 powerhouse companies teaming up, and it seems like they're doing it literally to target a smaller up-and-comer like Fubo. So, in my opinion, again, it's all speculation, but in my opinion, whether they win that lawsuit or not, in my eyes, I think they have a case. And, you know, if I was the judge, I would look at it very carefully. I really, really would. Because again, if the 3 of them team up, remember, if they have more cash to burn, or if they can keep themselves afloat and support a supposed quote-unquote failing business venture that they just started, if they can sustain it for longer, right, you can have a situation where now they're going to be poaching these customers from Fubo, and they can try to even operate at a loss for quite some time just to gain the popularity and gain the market share. So, yeah, in my mind, it really seems like a sticky situation. And I don't know. I think they have a case. I think they have a case here. So we're over here on stock charts, and it did the one thing that I hate in life, which is change. But it's all right, I guess. So we're looking at Fubo on stock charts, and this is no longer the RSI. Price performance. This is no longer the RSI. There we go. I don't like change. So we're looking at Fubo. And we can see we had, boom, big candle here. We went big up. We went big down. Top Bollinger Band, 248. Stock hit 243 and then pulled back. Okay. Okay, MACD recently crossed to the upside, but of course it's just kind of flat now because no one knows what's going on. RSI currently sitting here down at 40. I'm telling you, that's why I'm saying, in my opinion, like, you know, they want to keep it down or flat for a day or two, that's fine. Overall, in my eyes, it should be growing. Honestly, it really should be growing. And again, I know that forecast is a little bit light, and I'm not saying it's not a negative. That's not what I'm saying. But just looking at the overall value of the company and some of the growing numbers that they just showed us, plus compared with the current market cap of the company, in my eyes, is just not making sense. So rallying back here to 11, probably not. Slowly climbing up, believe it or not, to the top of this range here, back into like the mid-high threes. In my opinion, it's deserved, and in my opinion, it's justified. The MACD looks relatively flat, slowly kind of curling downward, it looks like, but we can see the rejection here on the weekly of the 50-day. Again, got up to about 243. 50-day was 232, but again, initially up at the open and then just started chunking down. But we can also see the bottom Bollinger Band here, 173 on the weekly, low 172, and then the bounce back up to 206 before consolidating here now in this downward channel, potentially gearing up to pop higher again into the two teens, so to speak. But I'm telling you, in my opinion, definitely a longer term play, but we know we could trade it and we could play it from quarter to quarter. But overall, in my opinion, that growth in subscriber count, I mean, that cannot be denied. And in my eyes, screw Wall Street, screw these analysts and their estimates. All of a sudden, the revenue estimates are higher than expected. Oh, we thought you'd have more subscribers by now. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man, in my opinion, we may be dealing with a sticky, fishy situation here to where I feel that they are purposely trying to make Fubo look worse than it is, to potentially try to help out some other companies. That's how I truly feel about it. Let's check the pivot points quickly. I'll let you go. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Next support level on the weekly, $1.47. Oof. I mean, I personally still like it here at $2, sub $2. So if you bring it down to 1.5 again, I mean, this was when I first started looking at it, when it was down here at a dollar. So we saw what happened. So if you want to bring it back down to 1.5, that would be fine by me. Next resistance level was 253. We hit 243. Next pivot point, 213. So yeah, in my opinion, we may stage a little rally back up. And what I say, back to the two teens, 215, and you can see pivot point here, 213. So in my opinion, it could probably slowly inch back up to that point. But then, we'll have to see if it closes above, at, or below that price. Next support on the, what is this? On the daily, 166. That would really be an overreaction. In my opinion, I still say this is an overreaction, but, we don't have to beat a dead horse here. You guys know how I feel about it, and we always like to look at the numbers, in my opinion anyway, especially for long-term growth. And I saw growth, and I saw numbers increasing. So, you know how I feel about it. But I just wanted to do a quick update because I know everyone probably expected big things. And, we had a beat, the stock was up, and now it's down. So I just wanted to update everyone on some of the info that came out. You know how I feel about it. Whatever you do with this information is entirely your own prerogative. But let us know down in the comments section if you're buying this dip, if you're adding more, if you're upset and you sold. If you think the stock is going to go down before it goes up and you think you can buy it in the 170s, 160s moving forward. So however you feel about it, let us know down in the comments section. But I'll end it there. Once again, Stocks by the Numbers. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the comments section. I'm usually very quick to reply. Thumbs up algorithm helps me get more eyes on the channel. And of course, subscribe to the channel. That is our handshake agreement. That's all I ask. That is how you help me help you. But more importantly, moving forward, like I always say, I understand that these markets are very rocky. They're volatile. They're uncertain. Info comes out of left field. I want to wish everyone success. I hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good Friday.